At Queen's, our civic mission is about working in partnership with communities to help address real societal challenges and create positive change. Across the city and beyond, Queen's has already built long-standing, deep-rooted relationships with a wide range of community organisations. The Civic Contribution Fund speaks directly to our civic mission. It creates opportunities for new partnerships to grow, supporting staff and students to work alongside communities on projects that make a meaningful difference.
Music has been a powerful tool for building confidence among our children. Singing together and taking part in musical games removes some of the pressure that they might feel in traditional lessons. In terms of learning, music supported skills such as listening, turn-taking, memory. For some of our children facing challenging circumstances, these positive experiences are vital. The children have found the programme in itself just really exciting and fun.
Unless you can pay for music tuition, you won't get it. In many countries around the world, it's a fundamental part of the curriculum and it's offered to all children. But here, that's not the case. Years ago it was, and now it's not. And what it means if they don't get it is that they're missing out on the myriad of ways that music can help them, both in terms of emotional regulation, in terms of their learning and their development, in terms of their creativity. It's to offer confidence and it's to offer a way into music through group music learning is what I think works really well in a school like this and has been working really well with the support of the children and with the support of teachers and with the kids here who are just fantastic kids. They're really, really up for learning for it, so it's been great.
I love music and it's so fun in school to just do it with my friends. Everybody gets to join in and no one's left out. It's fun practicing in class and with my friends.
I think there's two main reasons why raising awareness of non-fatal strangulation in the current context is so important. And the first is the clear links to domestic violence, and as we all know, Northern Ireland is one of the worst countries in Europe to be a woman or a girl. And non-fatal strangulation is also a clear warning sign for femicide. And then a kind of second and related reason is the confusion between strangulation and choking as a kink in sex. And the increasing normalisation of that form of violence and the legitimisation of it as well.
One of the things that we learned in researching non-fatal strangulation is that it seems really simple on the outset to kind of describe it, but it's actually quite complex. The general public has one concept which is generally informed by like sex or pornography, and it's actually not that. It's about like domestic violence and violence against women in particular, and power over women and women's bodies.
I think the key thing that I've learned about non-fatal strangulation is kind of the high level of urgency and the high rates of fatality. If you're strangled by that person, you're 750% more likely to be then murdered by them. So I think it's crazy, like with statistics like that, it's hard to believe that it's not something that's more publicly discussed. Although I think for a lot of people, when they hear strangulation, the first thing that comes to mind is sex, and it's not all about that. Although it might feel like a little bit of fun or something to try, it only takes the same amount of pressure as opening a Coke can for you to cause someone to lose consciousness, and that can happen within about 4 seconds. So I think people really need to weigh up the risk.
I really hope that the impact of this project is to raise awareness of the crime of non-fatal strangulation. We want to offer independent and impartial advice on non-fatal strangulation, so what to do if you experience it, but also to kind of start to question and denormalise the linking of choking or strangulation in sexual relationships, and just to make people aware of the dangers associated with that.
The Civic Culture Exchange Programme is an intercultural dialogue programme bringing students and refugee and asylum seekers from local South Belfast area together to engage and connect with each other and feel a sense of belonging. We have 20 refugee and asylum seekers from the charity Hapani, which is the Horn of Africa People's Aid Northern Ireland, and we have 10 students, postgrad students, masters, PhD students, and it's about them coming together for, well, 6 weeks, but 5 weeks is specifically focused on the 5 ways to wellbeing. So each week we're focusing on a different element or a different way to wellbeing.
Sport, and specifically football, can really build confidence and really bring communities together. We've seen it from historically how football can cross divides in Northern Ireland, and how we continue to do that. And a big part of that was showcasing some of the work that we do today, but more so then how they can get involved. So we had a practical session, we had a lovely tour, we're enjoying some lunch today, and then we'll hear from our club development officer about how they can maybe get involved in volunteering for the Irish Football Association.
Really, this program is very important for participants. They may be experienced for the isolation and conflicts. So it's really very, very important program for them, for their mentality, for their well-being, as well as helping them, to connect with the wider community.
The 6th week is a big festival, a big community wellbeing festival. We're also going to bring in all the partners in the organisations who we have worked with throughout the 5 weeks to create that legacy. So it's not just 5 weeks and see you later. It's 5 weeks to build those foundations and then continue that sense of belonging, integration and inclusion throughout both Queen's at the university and the surrounding area.
Mindwise has a very diverse portfolio of services. So broadly they're under the banners of housing services, community services, psychological therapies, information, advice and advocacy. So there's a complexity to our organisation. AI is a bit of a mysterious thing for a lot of people, isn't it really? So if we can understand the trends and be able to predict and use data, prescriptive data ideally, to tell us this is the best way to use our resources to meet the demands of that, that's going to be particularly beneficial.
It's critical for students to understand the challenges that organizations face and how AI and machine learning models are going to address those challenges. By doing this project, we could help Mindwise to address the gaps that Mindwise is now currently facing in terms of the how to use AI and machine learning models, which means that this project is indirectly impacting community and society, especially those who are being in need.
Here in Mindwise, there is a fluctuating demand during the week. So we had forecasted the demand, and when we use explainable AI, we came to know that what is the primary driver of the that forecast. So that helps us to have a better decision making and then also create trustworthiness for user and professional practitioner. So the key takeaway here is success definitely comes from human AI partnership, and analytics excel at spotting patterns and scaling insights. However, interpretation, context, empathy remains human strength.
Understanding how decisions are made, understand how AI is supporting the decision making, and being confident that its decision making process are aligned with the values of what is essentially a value driven organisation that exists for the betterment of people with experiencing mental health issues.
People's Kitchen started around about 9 years ago, and our role within the community was to respond to the need of people sleeping on the streets. The volunteers meet here every day, doing breakfast Monday to Thursday. On a Friday and Saturday then we do a drop-in, which is a 3-course dinner, and then we do 7 nights outreach on the streets as well. So the role really is to advocate, to meet the basic needs of people who are homeless in Belfast, and essentially to give them a bit of hope. So the Queen's University students have been volunteering for the last number of months. It's been a great partnership with Queen's in terms of actually giving students the opportunity to take part in training, but also the opportunity to meet people who are affected by homelessness, addiction and mental health problems.
Volunteering at People's Kitchen has been like a big eye-opener for me. I come from a very rural part of Northern Ireland, so I don't sort of see homelessness like very much until I moved to Belfast. And it's not just the people you see on the streets, there's people in cars and people in like hostels going from like home to home and sort of couch surfing as well, and just sort of seeing all the different like levels and the different types of homelessness which I wasn't aware of before. The experience has really improved my confidence, I think. I think it's really made me more empathetic towards the situation, and I think it'll help me be more understanding if I ever encounter anyone who's experiencing homelessness.
So what volunteering in People's Kitchen has taught me about homelessness is that the issue is much more complex than just simply not having a place to live. Many of the people that come into People's Kitchen have overlapping challenges such as domestic abuse, drug addiction, problems with their families, financial issues and so on, which can make it hard for them to move forward. When they come into the kitchen, have their warm meal, have a conversation with them, and just that community spirit, it means just as much to them as the practical support that the charity provides for them.
The projects featured in this video represent just some of the wonderful initiatives supported through the Civic Contribution Fund. Each developed through partnership, shared learning and a commitment to making a positive impact in our communities. We are incredibly proud of the staff, students and partner organisations involved in all of the funded projects. Together they reflect Queen's civic mission in action, helping to build a more inclusive, compassionate and connected society.